So I want to preface this by saying that Hasan is a fake socialist, and this is what Hasan does for a living, is that he basically is on Twitch, and he has like 50,000 viewers, and all he does is flaunt his supposed moral and political superiority to the world. I'm not sure how he has that superiority, how he's earned it, but he thinks he has it at least. And he basically talks about how he's this superior socialist and everyone else is wrong but him. Despite being a socialist, it's also curious. He has a pet name for, working class MAGA type of people. He calls them hogs. He calls the working class of America hogs, dehumanizing them. That's what he does, making fun of them, mocking them, and ridiculing them as he sits in his $3 million mansion in West Hollywood. But, Darg, you still see the tweet. That is so fucking bizarre and strange, right? It's deleted on my end. It's deleted on a bunch of other people's end, right? So that's what Hasan does. And, you got to ask the question, he's getting all of this clout off of these so-called socialist credentials. He's a millionaire, multi-million-dollar brand. Can Hasan make a difference in politics or for political possibilities in countries? Of course he fucking can. I made a difference in politics as far as the CPUSA was concerned with my meager following of 400 concurrent live viewers, and I fucking shook to the CPUSA to its core. Hasan could easily take over the CPUSA if he wanted. He could direct it to field candidates, and he could get the ball rolling really fast. Thanks so much, Braun. Right, Hasan could do a lot with what he has. A lot to accomplish political change in this country. And look, we're not saying you're going to become president, but you could build a movement, is what I'm saying. You could build an alternative two-party system, not just with the money you have, but with your followers. If you just, guys, put it this way. Jimmy Dore, I think it's fair to say, did a lot to contribute to the emergence of the People's Party, because Jimmy Dore kept endorsing it. Jimmy gets, 14,000 concurrent viewers. And look how much Jimmy's changed the landscape with his 14,000 concurrent viewers, right? Sometimes more. Hasan, regularly, he gets 50,000 on Twitch. And they're young people as well. They're young, energized people, the type of people who are getting extremely involved in politics and becoming activists and all this kind of shit. If Hasan did 1/10 of what Jimmy Dore does, and Jimmy Dore is a comedian, he doesn't even do that much, right? Imagine how much mountains could be moved, right? Jimmy Dore, I would say, almost single-handedly, is this fair to say, or is this too ignorant? Am I not in the loop? He started the force the vote discourse. Am I correct about that? He got AOC responding to it, okay? Look at Hasan Piker's following. Look at how many fucking viewers he gets. You're telling me Hasan can't make a difference? It's not just money, Hasan. It's your clout. It's your viewers. And they're young, too. That's the fucking crazy thing. The demographic, they're all fucking energetic young people. I will go so far as to say, I think Hasan did, just from his coverage in the 2020 primaries, probably play a huge part in carrying Bernie's campaign. What do you guys think? Is that a stretch? I don't think it's that much of a stretch. I think Hasan did alter that, and he didn't even know it. He's got power he doesn't even fucking know, and he doesn't put it to use. And it pisses me off, and I think this is why Trainwrecks is right, because every day he's just on stream reacting to content. He's like using as content things he can alter. Substantially, actually, right? I'm not saying he could change the political system in any meaningful way, but he could change the politics. He can change the political possibilities that exist right now. He could form an actual movement way bigger than the DSA easily, right? That fields candidates and, it's not going to be overnight. It could take 10 years or 20 years, but he could fucking really get the ball rolling, creating a mass movement and putting people's energy. And yeah, let's get this guy elected. Let's get this guy elected. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's go here. Let's support this. Let's support that. He could fucking do a lot, right? He could do a shit ton. So, you know, that's all you got to know. It's like a fucking fraud that we're dealing with Hasan. And that's pretty much remove idea. I'll do it later, man. We got to cover this. You know, but Trainwrecks is just a normal guy calling him out on his bullshit. Hasan, you're getting all this fucking clout and money, grifting off of this political ideology. Put your money where your fucking mouth is, right? You can't just sit here and act like you're above everybody because you're smarter than oh, you're better than everyone. And that's the only thing you have to offer. I'm smart and everyone else is wrong. I have fucking glasses, you don't. Shut up, dude. You're a fucking fraud. You're a complete fraud. You're a complete full of shit. And we're going to react to Hasan and debunk everything he said. By the way, Hasan did get a haircut, as I told him to. Because I'm the Sultan now. I took over the Ottoman Empire. I'm the leader of the Ottoman Empire. I am the Sultan. And Hasan is a subject of my empire. He did listen to my advice when I told him to shave his hair. Thank you so much, Muriel. Appreciate you. It's the first Phoenician, Afro-Asiatic, Mediterranean Sultan of the Ottoman Empire. And I have fabricated some Turkish lineage all the way back to Osman and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, it's no problem. You just fabricate stuff. Everyone does that. You know, Turks are not even Turks. They're kind of Greek. I'm just kidding. That's a joke. I have no problem with Turks. They're real Turks, okay? It's the Greeks that are Turks. Or which one is it? I don't know. It's one of those. But anyway, Adam Tahir, Sultan Adam Tahir, I did tell him to get a haircut. He did listen to what I said. And that much is evident. Look, he got a... I'll give Hasan one thing in this whole debacle. One thing only. His hair don't look bad. Doesn't look bad. He don't look bad here. It's very surprising. The glasses are still, you know... Speaking of Cambodia, but the glasses definitely have to go. It's so pretentious and silly. Also, he could use a tan, you know. I could use a tan as well, but I'm more of a judgmental person, not a do-it-myself kind of guy. I share a lot in common with Hasan in that regard. I'm kind of a guy who likes to do as I say, not as I do kind of guy, right? Anyway, that's the first thing we're getting out of the way as far as the itinerary. That's a very important thing to get out of the way, right? But Hasan, you know what? Hasan's not even Turkish. He's Greek. That's the Greek side of, you know. So don't take it from me. That's what I heard, that he's actually Greek. And he's not even really Turkish. And that apparently I'm actually the real Turk. That's what they're saying. I don't know. That's what Turks tell me. They say that I'm the real Turk. Hasan's not really Turkish at all. He was one of those Greek people that just adopted the language. Anyway, let's review this. And then, see, Trainwrecks is Persian. And that, my friends, is an interesting... So this is kind of like the Safavid Empire versus the Ottomans. No, that's the thing, because he's not Turkish. So this is more like the Persian Empire versus the Greeks. And I side with the Persians every day of the fucking week. This is the Persians versus... Sorry, this is the Persians versus the Greeks. Right? And I side with the Persians easily, you know. And then this guy, XQC, is Canada. I don't know what Canada was doing back then. I think this is just a vagrant of some kind, some homeless guy who's just caught in the middle. He's just kind of saying things. I'm not sure what I would categorize him as. I don't know what Canada was doing at that time. I think the Vikings... No, that was in the Middle Ages. I don't know. I think this guy is just a Canadian We just got caught in the crossfire somehow. Maybe time traveler, I don't know. Anyway, guys, I've set up the terms of the debate. I've set up the conditions, the context. Let's get into it. Let's see what is going to be said. Is Zerka going to react to this? I don't know. He said he's down, but Zerka is also famous for having a different concept of time than most of us. Unlike me, I'm always on time for everything. And I'm always on the dot, punctual, right? Anyway, let's react to this.
Where Trent is talking to Will Meth about the Turkey charity, and then things slide completely out of control, and then Hasan and then calls out Trent for critical family. You want me to link it to the thread or not? Because remember, this happened like this week.
I have to apologize for this language. I don't know if this is Canadian or something. I don't speak Canada, but definitely not the English I'm used to.
But yeah, he knows what it is. I know what it is. Yes.
Okay. Then how about Train? You walk me through your initial point. What did you say to Will, and what did you say?
I wanted the call initially to
if you can find a clip, that would be very helpful.
Reach out or
chatter.
to put out
That'd be very
branch,
helpful.
Right. I was talking about how I love the podcast, among other things, right? And then the conversation came up. He brought that up as an example, and I clicked.
Does Trainwrecks only wear glasses to troll Hasan? Like you want to be pretentious? I don't know. I don't watch him. I wouldn't know.
Clarify the
but
example.
If it's true, that'd be hilarious. And I'm already giving him a point in the debate for that. Kind of reminds me, you guys ever see that Dr. Phil episode where that guy shows up and Dr. Phil thought he's gonna just scold this horrible guy who did bum fights. He's recording homeless people fighting. And then as soon as the guy gets on the stage, not only is he dressed like Dr. Phil, he has his head shaved, and he looks just like Dr. Phil. He's got the whole look. And then Dr. Phil looked at him, and he was so butthurt, and he was so offended. He's like, you know what? After reviewing the footage, you're so disgusting. And he tried to do a moral high ground, I don't even want to talk to you. But we all know Dr. Phil was just butthurt that he came on stage dressed as Dr. Phil. And Dr. Phil knew he did not have this under control. And I just like pointing that out as an example of... That's why Dr. Phil's a fraud. I'm not scared to say that. I'm not one of the guys who just makes random enemies. But in the case of Dr. Phil, I am willing to make an exception. He's a fraud, right? He was making it seem like, I don't want to talk to you because you make homeless people fight. Then why did you invite him to the show? It's the fact that he dressed as you and he looks like you. You didn't expect that, right? So... I think, is this a similar situation? That's what I want to know. And if it is, then Trainwrecks already is taking the lead as far as the debate is concerned. Just got to let you guys know that.
Because at the end of the day, olive branch or not, I think there's an avenue regarding, the socialism in which, Hasan preaches but doesn't act with, right? There's that avenue where I don't think we'll ever come to terms with together, right? So... That is the disconnect. I don't know if him and I will find that middle ground for, but that didn't come up because I went on there to talk about it. That just kind of came up passively. If you watch the clip, the entire clip, that was generally a positive call, right? I think he kind of saw the clip and he picked those 10 seconds out.
As far as socialism being at odds with my mode of existence, that is another thing that I am very. That is another thing that I've been very consistent on with respect to having anti-capitalist values while simultaneously still being a fucking dumbass who likes commodities that are luxurious.
What is this fucking pretentious ass language? You call MAGA people hogs, but in so many words, I'm going to translate that to you in English. Plain spoken English. I'll translate it for you. Ready? Hasan's saying, I have demonstrated self-awareness over the apparent irony that I call myself a socialist and I also like to live lavishly. I'm not sure why he's mentioning commodities. I don't think brand consumer goods are just commodities, to be clear. It's not like he's purchasing the fucking 10 yards of linen that Marx describes in Capital. I'm not sure why he's using such like rigorously formal language to describe the lavish, luxurious shit that he likes to, he likes to have. It's like, oh, I buy a car, that's my commodity. No, this is such pretentious language, okay? Just say you like to live lavishly, you like to live large. You translate it into language that people can understand, because I'm just telling you, that's all he's saying, and he's just saying it pretentiously to make it seem like he's an intellectual. You're not an intellectual, son. He said mode of existence. What is this, right? He'd just be like, I live a lavish lifestyle. I like to live large. I like to have nice things. And I'm also calling myself a socialist. And then you could begin from there. But the way he says it is so fucking insufferable. It's so insufferable, right? Like, thank you so much, Braun. Appreciate you.
Mode of existence is pure pseudo-intellectual.
Yeah, it's just jibber jabber, right? And he says, well, I'm a dumbass for it. What do you, dude? It's like, oh, silly me. I just bought like a $30 million house. Silly me. I just bought. No, just fucking own up to it. I'm giving Trainwrecks another point because just fucking own up to it. Why are you doing this like, oh, silly me. I'm such a dumbass for spending all this money. If it was me and I was spending that kind of money, and I'm not sure if I really would. If I got my money from like anything else, I probably would do way worse than Hasan. But if I only got it off of being like a political streamer, I don't know if I could do that, right? But I would just be like, I like to live with my nuts hanging. I like to live lavishly, bitch. I like to live large, motherfucker. I like to live like a king. I'm a fucking prince, motherfucker. Like, I would own that shit. You know what I mean? I say, why are you pocket watching me? That's how I would be. I'd be like, why the fuck you pocket watching me? I like to live large, because he can't do that. Because he's got to wear the glasses, and he's got to appeal to the Brooklyn hipsters, and they don't like that kind of shit. They don't like that. They don't like ballers, right? They're not a fan of the ballers, because the ballers are not woke. The ballers are not pandering. The ballers are not domesticated. The ballers are not under control because they have enough goddamn money to do what they want. You think fucking Mayweather has to give a shit about what some fucking pink-haired grad student thinks? You think he has to give a shit about that? He don't give a fuck about any of that shit. You know what I mean? Floyd doesn't have to give a fuck about that, You think fucking Gucci Mane got to give a shit about that? He doesn't. He doesn't. But Hasan does, because that's where he gets all his money and views. And that's the difference. Hasan, if he started acting like me, he would lose everything. He would lose everything. You know what's funny? I'm balling in a fucking $30 tracksuit. This shit was $40 total. This whole thing, $30 or $40. I bought it at the outlet at Adidas. $30, $40, and I'm balling in this shit. You know what I mean? He can't act like me. It's not about money, it's about mentality. He can't do it. Right? He can't do it. He can't do it. I can do it. Because I don't give a fuck. If someone was trying to pocket watch me, it's like, you know what? I do got the iPhone. The golden trimmed iPhone. Look at this. It's the gold colored iPhone. I'm living lavish. What else do I got? I got the... let me show you some lavish shit I got. I mean, I got a golden. Guess how much is $15,000? That sword, $150,000. The carpet right here, you're looking at $270,000 for that carpet. That dragon right there, hand carved, straight from Asia. Got it imported around the ballpark of $8,000 to $11,000. You know what I mean? I'm balling out here. I don't give a fuck. Okay? I don't give a fuck. I'm not here to be poor. I'm here to be lavish. Okay? Look at all this shit. I mean, this whole room total probably worth $573,000, $442.72. You know what I mean? I'm a fucking baller. You know what I mean? I don't gotta do this apologetic bullshit. You know, is what it is. Let's continue. See, I'm a very different person than Hasan. Okay, I'm a very different person than Hasan. All right, and I'm not apologetic.
That has been a consistent talking point for myself for a very long time.
Okay, so this is his argument is that I have self-awareness. Having self-awareness means nothing. You have to answer for it, Hasan. Logic failure, -2 points from Hasan's team.
So I don't know why you think that ultimately conflicts. Socialism is not a poverty cult. Socialism or anti-capitalism or wanting to make things at least marginally better for working class Americans is not, no matter how much people say, oh, lol, Bernie Sanders is...
Okay, but if your entire brand is based on this ideology, you should probably give back to it in some kind of way instead of because you're just because you're complaining about it as if you're not culpable in it, right? You're sitting on your React stream. Oh, look how shitty the state of the world is. But you're culpable in that shitty state yourself, Hasan. You are the biggest political streamer by far that I know of on the internet. I think you're bigger than Tim Pool, right? So you're the biggest political streamer on the internet. You're part of the world you're reacting to, Hasan. Whether you like it or not, you are a political actor. Period. No, none of us have ever denied that you have tremendous influence. Very clear. Which you don't have is balls. That's why you're not the Sultan, Hasan. You will never be the Sultan. You're more like you know, some court jester who got kicked out and has a traveling band of... I mean, you are not a Sultan. A Sultan has balls even when his army's only 300 strong. That's what separates a Sultan from a pretender and a fraud, like Hasan. Agent of the British Empire, right here.
3 houses fucking owned, or whatever the fuck. That is not at odds with the way I live. This is a point of contention, though. I will agree. There's broad debate on this.
He's got no awareness. Hasan! 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 You're sitting here, millionaire, few things. Sitting here, millionaire. Oh, it doesn't conflict with... Hasan! What are you here for? What's your purpose? You don't think you gotta justify it? You do. You know, I'll tell you why, Hasan, you also gotta justify it. Some extra shit you gotta know about. Cutting into other people's bottom line as well. You're trying to police and gatekeep Twitch and get fucking people banned left and right and enforce a culture of deplatforming. Going after Aiden Ross, going after Trainwreck, going after this person, that person, you and G3. You're doing that shit all the time, Hasan. You're a gatekeeper. So yeah, you gotta justify yourself. Don't fucking just sit here on your millions and millions of dollars, sitting here policing all the fucking content on the internet. And then fucking what? And what's the point? You're a fraud, dude. You're a millionaire. 50,000 concurrent viewers, and you can't even what? You can't form a fucking party? I saw the most stupid fucking Hasan supporter in my quote tweets. I shit you not. This Hasan supporter, okay, was telling me some shit like, why would Hasan want to form another party? Like, that's gonna help. You know that book, The Communist Manifesto? You know what it's actually called? It's called Manifesto of the Communist Party. The fact that the working class needs political independence has been a truism of not only Marxism, but even socialism as we know it, mainstream socialism as we know it, since the very fucking beginning in the late 19th century when socialism as a mass popular movement started taking off. You don't need a fucking independent party? Of course you do, you fucking idiot. That's step one. But do I have to teach you Marxism 101 or some shit? It's literally step one, yes. If you don't have political independence, you're always going to be beholden to the political whims of the ruling class. Why? Because the two parties are parties of the bourgeoisie, right? Parties that are controlled by the bourgeoisie, you can never, no matter how hard you try to reform them, they will never serve the interests of the working class. Isn't that basic Marxism 101, you fucking dumb, airheaded bimbo idiot? It's like some woman in my replies who's trying to simp for Hasan. Oh, what do we need a political party for? That's stupid. That's been tried before. It has never been tried with the amount of fucking attention and clout Hasan has. You want to know why all these other fringe socialist parties fail? Because they don't have attention. Hasan has so much fucking clout. He could fuck up our CPUSA 2036 initiative overnight. If Hasan told his viewers, yeah, let's take over the CPUSA, it would happen overnight. I guarantee you it would happen overnight. And our whole thing would be fucked up. That's the thing. It would be GG for everything we're trying to do. We would literally have to formulate a new fucking strategy. And I'm openly admitting that. We'd have to formulate a new fucking strategy. It's like, even with this new organization I'm building, it's like it would be a stretch. It would be considerably harder to take over CPUSA down the line if Hasan, and it would. But the thing is, it would happen overnight. We've been slowly taking the party for years. Hasan, he would do what we have done in years. He would do it overnight. And with a party, he could field candidates. He can do so fucking much. And put it on the map politically. He could literally put it on the map politically, especially among young people and among the youth, because that's the audience he fucking has. No one else has that. No other fucking political party has that clout. None of them have that amount of fucking attention their way. None of them have the amount of resources that way, right? None of them. Thank you so much, Blackback. Appreciate you.
They would never let him get this big if he was authentic.
Yeah, that's the thing. If he ever tried to do that, they wouldn't let him get this big. What happened to me? See, Hasan is scared to do this shit. He will never create an alternative to the Democrats. He's got to be loyal to those Democrats or his platform's gone. He will never go against Democrats by doing some shit like that. Oh, you're going to mobilize young people to vote for a non-Democrat party and get involved in, most importantly, forget about electoralism, organizing. He literally has an army of people ready to organize their communities. He could fucking do he could kickstart a huge fucking thing. I've done the math because I'm trying to do it myself. Okay? If Hasan tried that shit, he could like instantly put socialism really on the map in this country in an effective way. All he's done is bitch about Bernie being gone. Hasan has so much attention, so much influence, so much clout. He could fucking do it overnight. Like this. Even if only 1,000 people out of his viewers will full-time commit to it, which I'm sure there would at least 1,000 would, because 50,000 people are so fucking dedicated that they watch him every day concurrently for like 8 hours, right? All he does is tell his viewers to vote Democrat because there's no alternative. Yeah, there is an alternative, Hasan. Your fucking platform that you built easily could make an alternative. And no, I'm not saying it's going to win a presidential election. You shouldn't even worry about the fucking presidential elections. Focus on building the skeleton of a fucking party movement, and then in fucking, let's say 10 years from now, minimum, I think it'd be even quicker. Like, you'd have a real mass movement in this country that would shake things up, And even if you still believe the two-party system's going to survive that, Democrats or whoever would have to literally, make a deal with this party. Hey, we need this party support. We need the Hasan Piker party support. Please, we're going to do everything you want. It could be like this grassroots pressure. It could do so much. Endless possibilities. He's such a fraud, dude. He's such a fraud. If Hasan was willing to do that, and if he had the balls to do that, MAGA communism would have never happened. All the Pat Sock shit would have never happened. Like, congrats, we just revived the Bernie thing. The whole Bernie momentum in 2016 would have just been fucking revived, and you wouldn't need these bad villains like Hayes Aldine. Like, Hasan, you want to destroy Hayes Aldine? I mean, I won't be destroyed, but I'd probably like leave the internet and come back under a new identity and make sure this one works. Try to take charge of this thing to make sure, like, you know, they don't fuck it up like how they fucked Bernie shit in 2020 with all that dumb pink hair, dumbass shit. But Hayes Aldine probably, I mean, MAGA communism, all this stuff we're doing, it probably wouldn't exist. Honestly, if Hasan had the balls to, like, build a fucking movement that could, like, you know, actually leverage demands from the Democrats, shit. Infrared as you know it might not even exist. Hold on. Give me a sec. Alternate timelines that we know will never happen. Because if he tries to do that shit, he's going to get deplatformed. He's going to get banned. He's destroyed, right? MAGA communism, what a joke. What a joke. What a joke. I mean, to be fair, probably not true that MAGA communism wouldn't be necessary, because even whatever mass movement he wants to build, when it comes to reaching outside of the, you know, liberal community, still would have to reach the masses. And the masses are the MAGA people. That's the truth. But I'm just saying, like, at least he'd get the ball rolling with something. Like, something interesting would happen. Something, right? Instead of nothing. He owes us nothing. Oh, trust me, I don't. Not only do I think he owes us nothing, I think he's a shill for the Democrats. Of course, MAGA communism is the way. Of course, it's the way. It's the way in part because people like this are fucking shills for the Democrats. And I'm just saying, blame only yourselves. You could have fucking done a lot of shit with the platform and money and clout and resources you have. You're just too much of a pussy to ever go against Democrats. That's the truth. That's the damn truth. Right? We're doing MAGA communism. And MAGA, what is MAGA communism? It means forget about the liberals, forget about these leftists. If you want to build a working class movement in this country, begin with MAGA. Go to MAGA. And we're gonna build the MAGA communism. We're gonna build a communist movement from the MAGA movement, which has already united the working class of this country in an unprecedented fucking way. Right? Trump and MAGA need a third party. That's what we think. We want Trump. Fuck the Republican Party, man. Why the fuck is MAGA in the same party as Lindsey Graham and fucking who's that fucking eye patch McCain guy? What's his name again? Dan Crenshaw? All these fucking neocons and freaks and actual rhinos and establishment swamp monsters. Even the ones that say they're for Trump, like McCarthy and shit, they're all full of shit. Right? There's some MAGA people in there that are loyal to Trump, but they're in the minority. The whole fucking Republican Party stacked against him. And, if Trump had a... I mean, but who knows? But if there was a MAGA... That's what we want. That's what the MAGA communists want. We want to... Not only we want a third party, we want a party for the working class. Because our whole argument is very simple. People think it's complicated, and it's not. We're saying this. In 2016, what got Trump elected? The working class. The blue-collar working class, right? That's what carried him to his election. The traditional Republicans are not the blue-collar working class. Those are the people on golf courses or I don't know, right? Totally different people, totally different voters. So all we're saying is MAGA has to double down on the working class demographic and build its interests, policies, and strategy around uniting the working class in this country. Thank you so much, The
Instead
King.
of building a party, Hasan decided to divide the left further
Exactly.
by attacking Jimmy Dore and calling healthcare activists fascists when there was the M4M4A rally.
The king, you know what's so
2021.
disgusting about that? Hasan Piker could have single-handedly made the fucking force the vote strategy work if he used this platform. He could have literally gotten force the vote to work if he went all in on it for his platform. So yeah, that's what we're saying with MAGA communism. It's like, oh, what about the communism stuff? Well, communism is just about the movement of the working class and building a state, policies, political power for the working class. We don't think communism is some system you enforce. We have a theory that the productive forces are developing in a direction that's going to make a lot of things outdated, like traditional capitalism, which it has. It already has in the information age. We think modes of production change according to history. It's the politics you have to fight for, and the politics of the working class you got to fight for. The change in the system of society will happen naturally, right? The politics won't change naturally, but the economics will. It's not going to be at gunpoint or by force or any of that kind of shit. Unless we're talking about the monopolies. Thank you so much,
I've begun
PJ.
to analyze Lenin's writings in order to develop literature
Yeah.
connecting his work to MAGA. I would appreciate your feedback if you get a chance.
Oh,
so
sure,
I don't
yeah.
mess it
Thank you,
up.
PJ. I
It's in
welcome it.
self-promo
I welcome
thread.
it. Thank you so much for that and also for the 10. Thank you. But yeah, all MAGA communism is like, yeah, we do want to maybe nationalize the energy industry and either break up the monopolies or nationalize the monopolies. We also want to break the bureaucracy of the current government and simplify it and nationalize the resources that are monopolized. But we don't want to take people's personal businesses and belongings and family businesses, and we don't want to take homes and all that. We don't want to socialize any of that stuff. Thank you so much, Venezuelan Patriot.
Aside
Appreciate
from
you.
MAGA, does the People's Party have any potential as a working class first party?
I'm not sure. I'm open to everything. I just think we have to build a working class communist party, which has got to be drawn and work within the MAGA movement. That's what I think. But that's all MAGA communism is. It's actually really simple, right? Yeah, we need a national bank. Holy shit, that's what we need. Break up the Federal Reserve, get us a national bank. And that's the communist line. The communism isn't about we're gonna forcibly, communalize every fucking thing. That's never what communists have wanted, right? Not even in Russia or China, which were very different conditions, by the way, than America. So MAGA communism's simple. It's actually simple. Movement for the working class, by, for, and of the working class. And it could be other people, too. It doesn't just have to be the blue-collar working class. But it has to be led by the blue-collar working class. It's got to be led by the working class. But it's also going to have other people join in. Business owners and stuff. They'll join in. But it's led by the working class. That's what we believe, right? Because we think that's the divide with MAGA. We're trying to say it's not about ideology. It's about class. The MAGA people are the blue-collar working class. And then the rhinos and all these other fucking Republicans, those are, I don't know, white-collar kinds of people, right? So that's our view. That's our analysis. That's the MAGA communism line, it's pretty simple stuff. Movement for the working class. And what about all the ideology? Forget about ideology. Who gives a fuck about that? Ideological differences. Material meat and potatoes are what matters. Not jibber jabber and phrases. And this guy's got the jibber jabber and he's got, I'm gonna talk about all these phrases. But in the meat and potatoes, he's against the working class. He calls them hogs. He doesn't do anything for them. Thank you so much, One Man Army.
Communism is just common sense. The workers are majority MAGA.
Yeah.
And workers have been pushed around by the mega core who buy out politicians.
Exactly, One Man Army. It's actually simplified stuff. Simplified stuff. Simple stuff, right? Communism, working for the common prosperity of the whole country instead of the parasites, Take control of our country and Yeah, it's about the meat and potatoes, not the jibber jabber. This is all the jibber jabber.
Subject matter. There's many different kinds of ways of approaching it.
But he was against the truckers and laughed when the cops attacked him. Exactly. Meat and potatoes. Thank you, Ryan
Rose.
Rose.
China as the new global superpower, the American people will be forced to face the reality of the power and legitimacy of communism and how we've been lied to about
That's exactly what we're talking about. And not just China, also Russia. Because a lot of people think Russia became capitalist. Not true. You can't just revert from socialism to capitalism. That's never happened in history. Socialism is a mode of production. You either have that mode of production or you don't. So either the Soviet Union never had a socialist mode of production, or Russia cannot be described as capitalist. Now, is it socialist? It's complicated. I think Russia's in a state, I think, in terms of the mode of production, it's like the world is socialist right now, right? But Russia's got that political legacy of socialism that will never go away, ever. Even Putin, when he met with Xi, I should cover that too, by the way. I'm sure Jackson covered it where you guys were there, but, you know, Putin's sitting down with Xi Jinping, and he's telling him, you know, hey, we admire your system that you got in China. We wish we would have done that. Hey, that's a socialist system. And then Putin, when, you know, communism's not really that controversial in Russia. They're like, yeah, okay, but what? It's like this bedrock of the Russian history, and all they're doing is deciding, okay, well, how do we go forward? Because we can't just go back to the Soviet Union. But it's not like they're going to the past before the Soviet Union existed. That's not possible, right? So it's like Russia and China are forcing us to deal with, like, hey, communism has irreversibly changed our world. And we're behind. We Americans are, like, behind. We're, like, living in feudalism. And it's like Russia and China are going through the Industrial Revolution, and we're just living in feudalism. Like, we have to somehow respond to it, react to it, to catch up. But socialism, communism, it's become objective fact as part of history. It's objective fact. It's like irreversibly changed the course of world history. It's not going anywhere, right? All we can do is react to it in different ways, but it's here to stay. Not going anywhere. Yeah, all these ex-socialist countries, you look at all their infrastructure, look at all their industry. It's all legacy stuff from the socialist era. They have not moved past it. The only way to move past it is even adopting socialism again, because you got to go back to the roots, right? You know, let me tell you guys, I'm going to give you a pro tip. Okay, here's a pro tip. 9 out of 10 times, when you hear these fucking politicians, especially the neocons, talk about the free market capitalist system, they're talking about geopolitics. They're not talking about a system. They're talking about geopolitics. So, for example, when they say, oh, we need to bring free market capitalism to this or that country, let's say Venezuela or Cuba or something, you know what they're really saying is, they're saying, we need the globalist corporations and international banking cartels to take control of this sovereign country. When they say, oh, we want this country to have a free market and privatize, what they really mean to say is, we want the foreigners, the globalists, to take over. They're not actually talking about some system of free competition or anything like that. It's geopolitics, right? Think about it. It's geopolitics. All the corporations, all the economics are politicized. Economies are all political now, you know? Economies are all fucking political and shit. They're all fucking political. Like, there's no private sector. It's a myth. Guys, let me tell you nothing. The private sector is a fucking myth. It's political. It's always been political. When they privatize something, they just mean we're going to make it controlled by the deep state, not by the official government. A lot of the times, that's what they mean, right? Or we're going to make it controlled by some other political force that's not officially represented by the law. But it's always political. It's not like it's some actual, return to the capitalism of, before 1929. So people got to realize that. A lot of the times, we're going to privatize it. That means we're going to put it in the hands of this company, which already has some political standing of some kind. Thank you so much, PJ. Appreciate you.
It's neo-mercantilism.
Yeah, it's not what people think. It's like, I'm an anti-capitalist. What the fuck does that even mean? Right? It's all these political distinctions that become meaningless.
Ultimately, it's about the relationship to the means of production. That's it. That's all this is. And it's about giving workers more autonomy. It's not about doing...
No, it's fucking... What does that even fucking mean? Giving workers more autonomy? What is this stupid leftoid jibber-jabber language? Giving workers more autonomy by supporting the fucking Justin Trudeau's crack... He said he wants to give workers more autonomy, but he's against the Freedom Convoy, which was literally about workers having more autonomy. Make it make sense. The mandate, the lockdown protest, the mandate protest were all about workers having more autonomy. And he was against all of those. So I just don't know what the fuck he's talking about. He needs to be a little more specific with what he means. Because it sounds like a whole lot of jibber-jabber.
Charity, okay? I've never said socialism is charity, even though I myself engage in charitable acts. I've been fairly consistent on that as well, with respect to just doing it regardless of whatever people say, even if they shit on me. I think XQC can advocate for that as well. I've literally had private conversations.
Okay, you do charity, dude, but like you're kind of repping the. It's like like when if you're like repping a gang symbol, but you're not part of the gang, it's gonna land you in trouble. And it's kind of not the same thing, but I do think there's something a little comparable about it, It's like you're repping the socialism, but what for what? You're grifting off of it, and that's what distinguishes you, Hasan. Hasan, you're the political guy. If you were not political, Hasan, and you were like Aiden Ross, I think Aiden Ross you get blown out the water. You would get destroyed as a streamer. You'd be like a 2K Andy or something at most, if even. Would you even? If Hasan didn't have his socialist politics, how many viewers would he have? That's all we gotta fucking ask. All you gotta ask is, how many viewers would he fucking have if he was not grifting off socialism? Probably not a lot. Probably not as much as he has now. So, if that's the reason for your success, you should be accountable to it in some kind of way. That's all we're saying.
With them many years ago, even about like, it's a good thing. People will shit on you regardless. You should still do it. But yeah. Socialism is exclusively and almost entirely about the relations of the means of production and how society is developed around the current organization of the economy.
Again, he's using a bunch of jargon and jibber-jabber the average person won't understand. So I'm going to translate to those of you who want to use some normal language. Socialism is about what's the guiding principle of our economy? Is the guiding principle of our economy, for the bankers and, elites? Or is the guiding principle of our economy taking into consideration, the thing that binds us together as human beings in a society? Like, is the guiding principle of the economy based on what's good for society or what's good for a handful of, a handful of elites? It's kind of like that simple. So that's a way to simplify it for you. So Hasan's using a bunch of jargon he doesn't even understand. I understand the jargon he's using, and not helpful in communicating anything to the. I have 1,000 viewers, and I would not use the jargon he's using. The jargon he's using, right? So what's the guiding principle of the society? Is it about profits, or is it about people? And is it about society? What's good for society, right? So socialism just means the guiding principle of the economy is about what's good for society and what's good for the people. And apparent capitalism meant that the guiding principle of society is just capital, right? Just increasing the amount of profits. You know, increasing the capital. Feeding the capital. All of society is built around capital rather than built around, you know, some kind of established good of society. So it's that, you know, it's that simple. It's not really that complicated. You explain it.
And how commodities are produced.
Okay, so
Talking about how commodities are okay.
so you're saying that if there's a
You
distinct
know what's
point,
stupid about the way Marxists use commodities? It's like commodity production has become subsumed and socialized. We don't have a fucking commodity form. Not really. Commodities are kind of part of this stream of production now. To give you an example, the commodity of an iPhone. Is this like the production of discrete commodities? No. It's the blueprint of the iPhone, which is this brand, almost like this virtual thing. And that is just guiding production to shit out copies and copies and copies and copies and copies of that. It's almost like when you have a printer and you put in your computer, you draw, you know, I don't know, you draw like a dick or something, let's be vulgar, and you're just printing out on the printer, constantly printing. Is that commodity production? Not really, right? Commodity production is based on the constant reproduction of some technique of labor. But the technique of labor is completely subsumed by brands. These socialized supply chains which don't produce commodities strictly based on profit. The whole supply chain is based on reproducing the brand, not capital strictly. The brand has taken over everything over, right?
point in what he sees socialism and the action you can do to further socialism and okay, it makes sense. Do you agree with what he said? Did you hear what he said?
No.
He says that socialism, right, is more the means of production and the worker stuff, and not the whole spread the wealth thing. And I think you
like a commodity is a discrete unit of exchange value, right? I don't think that's what the goods in a 7-Eleven are. I don't think you're looking at necessarily a bunch of commodities. I think the commodity is at the level of the brand. The brand is what has a discrete exchange value, the stock price of the company or something. The item, the discrete physical item, is extremely disposable because there's such an abundance of them, right? So commodities don't really explain how consumer economies work. It's not really about the economy. Like, who gives a fuck about the individual unit at that point? It's about exclusive rights to production. It's like, do you own the trademark for this? Do you own the IP for this? Like, let me explain it to you guys this way. What's more valuable? What actually sells? Is it the Hershey's bar that sells? Or is it the ingredients which sell? Can I just take Hershey's ingredients? No, I can't. That's where the fucking value is. It's in the IP. It's in the fucking patent, right? That's where the fucking actual exchange value is. It's a transcendent form of exchange value. The actual thing they produce is just like some disposable after effect. It's like it's like we live in a Platonic capitalism. It's the Platonic form that matters, right?
I think you say, oh, we should spread the wealth more type shit, right?
I would agree. So I would agree with Hasan.
Spreading the wealth is not socialism. If that was the case, then Jeff Bezos would be the #1 socialist. You know what I mean? He albeit a very minor part of his overall wealth, he gives
Okay,
back.
Hasan, what is socialism then? Why don't you explain that?
Fucking
Tell us what socialism is and how you contribute to that.
hundreds of millions of dollars. That he would be literally a socialist if that was the case.
So I think the point is this, right? Preaching socialism without action is literally just capitalism. Do you understand? If you preach the idealistic way that society should operate, yet you don't implement any of those systems, right, within your own, let's say proportionally within your own community, to show that these systems can work. Just wait.
No.
See, I think Trainwrecks is the spirit of what he's saying is true, because I think Trainwrecks is just saying, like, you should have something to show for. Trainwrecks is using an example. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it. It's like you should create a local version of a socialist society. But that's not really the point, because what Trainwrecks is trying to say is, like, you should be part of what you're saying in some way. I think the better point is that it's you should be trying to build a political movement, putting your fucking resources into that, because it's about politics. He's a politics streamer. Prove that your socialism works, that it can actually affect things, right? It can actually affect the direction of politics in this country. So, in essence, what Train is saying is right.
I love that.
Like, he's trying to say it in his own way, but he's right overall, you know?
No, that's actually a great point. It's a great point, and it unfortunately fails to capture how inescapable capitalism is. Do I benefit from it? Absolutely. I'm a profoundly fortunate person, something that I...
But the problem, Hasan, is that you are fortunate because of your politics. So, is your fortune going back into your politics? It's not. It's going into your fat wallet, and you're buying dumb shit with it. Thank you so much, One Man Army.
Seizing the means of production is the workers' government taking control of the industry in order to better the nation as a whole and society. Capitalism without a leash is what we have now. Think Hasan.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Or, I like this word, we have a socialism for the rich. We're not living in capitalism, guys. Not technically. We're living in a socialism for the oligarchy. We're living in a capitalist socialism. We're living in a capitalism-themed socialism. Let me explain it that way. We're living in a socialism themed as capitalism for the purposes of justifying the control of society by an elite minority of monopolies. What do you think of that?
Regularly acknowledge and talk about all the time. I'm very privileged. I'm very fortunate. These are things that I do not hide. I'm wealthy. Another thing
capitalism is just a branding. It's just our American branding of our socialism. And it's a disguise because in reality it's a socialism for the elites.
Do not hide.
For the oligarchs, right?
I don't know
the
why
banks, Wall Street,
people always
City of London
say that I hide it. But
do you understand that?
If cooperatives can work individually, and I can point to socialization working in other countries, for example, like in European social democracies, like
get the fuck out of here with this dumb shit.
Norway, even in Canada, it works better than the United States.
Fucking Canada, man.
Even though it has its flaws.
It's a great winning message. Yeah, Canada, with fucking Justin Trudeau's fascist government.
So there are instances of like socialization, not socialism, working in other countries, and yet that is still not.
Okay, but Hasan, you prove you're about it. That's what Trainwreck's trying to say. I'm not trying to say prove it in the abstract that it's possible. You prove it somehow, because you're the one fucking benefiting from it.
Change people's minds in the United States of America.
Thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate you.
We privatize profits and socialize losses.
True. Very true.
So I don't know why you think that like something completely and entirely removed from socialism itself, which would be me, like, I guess, doing socialism in my own community. I don't know how you would do that, but I would love to hear your perspective. I don't know how that would genuinely change people's minds in that regard. But as far as like my own form of...
It probably would, you know. It sounds like some frivolous demand or idea, but, you know, in Turkey and in Russia and around the world, these things do exist. Thank you so much, Zero.
I love ReZero.
It's pretty common for communists to actually try and set up socialistic communities or communistic communities. You know, it's like for purposes of like serving as an example to the country, like, hey, this works. We're doing it here. Let's expand it. And I kind of used to be dismissive of that. But when I think about Deng Xiaoping's reforms and how those happened and how, you know, there's a province in China that's still running like the old socialist planning system pretty successfully, actually. You guys know what province I'm talking about? It's like a town or some province or something like that. That's like still in the Mao era in China. And it's like, you know, it actually works. And I like this kind of idea of decentralizing the specific managerial system you have. Like, socialism is an overall mode of production, but the specific type of system, or let's call it the specific theme you have, the specific, you know, specific managerial methods you employ should be local, right? That's how they're going to spread.
Commodity production. I work with...
You should begin local, not begin implementing some fucking utopian vision from the top down. That's stupid. You should manage your economy scientifically from the top down. But at the local level, you have so much more room to experiment. That's what they did in the Soviet Union, by the way. They didn't just fucking do the collectivization from the top down. There was a collective farm movement that was happening from the bottom up. And they're like, okay, this model works. Let's spread it, right? They had mixed results at first when they spread it, obviously. There was a famine. Can't discount that. But, you know, I'm just saying, even in a country like the Soviet Union, they didn't have the fucking mentality that, oh, yeah, we're just going to have this systemic change all happen at once.
Labor in union shops in the United States of America, and it's domestically manufactured when I do merchandising. And I have some form of cooperative organization where the people that I work with, not my workers per se, but people that I work with, whether it be my producers or editors, have full autonomy over their times, full autonomy over how much they make, full autonomy over a percentage of the...
Okay, so they have flexible work environments. That would be the actual... So in normal speak, you'd be like, okay, the people that I employ have very flexible working environments. But he says full autonomy because you got to have that jargon and that phraseology that's, you know, themed in a leftist way. Even though any other person would just be like, yeah, I give my employers a lot of flexibility with what they do.
Profits or even more. Not only that, but they also have editorial independence, like in the case of Ostenox, who can say what he wants, and I'm not going to, you know, go after him unless he's making an erroneous mistake. So that's
Which
it.
He has
that's you know, that's my perspective, and I think I try to live by my values as best as possible, and I think I do a decent job, I think, at that.
That perspective is convenient, in my opinion. Like, it's a convenient perspective to have, right? Like, if I would accept that perspective.
Wait, why is it convenient?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. So everything that you do would be completely fine, right? If you moved away from these extremisms, right? And you moved more so to the middle, and you're like, okay, listen, guys, I'm a capitalist, but I believe in socialist systems to be mixed in with the capitalistic systems to create a better society, right? To grab the good of both. You understand? But the problem is you're completely shitting on capitalism. You're completely eat the rich, anti-capitalist.
I'm losing you again. Everyone can hear you except for me. I'm sorry. Can you hold on?
So translate what Train is saying. Saying, Hasan, clearly there are these things you identify with capitalism that are indispensable to your way of life. And Train is having a hard time understanding of how can you claim to hate capitalism when it's such a fundamental part of what makes your life and your happiness possible. Right? Now, how would I respond to this, by the way? I would respond that the things about capitalism that make our lives happy have internal defects. Thank you so much, Hamza.
Walla bro Hasan read
that don't allow them to continue.
You can learn from him.
So that's like crisis, for example, like the run on the banks we just saw. Crisis, right? Eventually it gets into a crisis. He needs socialism to kind of fix the whole thing. You know what I mean? That would be an intelligent response, I think. I think you would say, like, we're not against the things about capitalism, so if we're just going to play ball with the terminology. I never like to be nitpicky about terminology. I'm like the opposite of President Sunday. Like, I technically don't even think we're living in capitalism. But I understand what Trainwreck is trying to say when he uses that word. That's why I don't give a fuck about terminology. So we're like, yeah, you know, the things about capitalism we benefit from are not the things we want to destroy. We don't want to just destroy every aspect of society. We just think that there are flaws that capitalism by itself cannot address.
On, we're gonna have to do this again one more time. Let me turn off the camera and turn it on again. Oh, I can hear you again. Thank you. I have a Discord issue. Sorry.
I personally like to say we're not even living in capitalism anymore. And just be like, we're already living in socialism. It's not a problem. Like, the crisis happened in 1929. Ever since then, it's not really been capitalism in the first place. I think an intelligent argument would be like, it's not capitalism that I like. It's technology and wealth. I don't want to destroy technology and prosperity. It's capitalism that's getting in the way of that now. And I'd begin my argument from there. But I think I'd just be better than Hasan at maneuvering this conversation in general.
I really do want to hear what you have to say. Can you
start? I'd probably like win over Trainwrecks a little bit, at least a little, right?
Top?
Yeah, can I juice up real quick then? Since we had a little disconnect.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he's got to juice up.
Thank you so much, PJ.
It's an important point to make, though. The meaninglessness of the term is proof of the dialectic.
Yeah, true.
It takes a second. Okay. Yeah.
Wait, I want to...
I want to explain his own thing.
What?
But he's got to juice up. You never juice up? Let him juice up. Come on, let's play this.
We disconnected. It's going to be a little juice up.
Yeah, but like, this is in terms of service on page 3, by the way, about juicing up. Yeah, I'm not going to paraphrase what he said. I'm just going to go through it. Also, there's a bunch of actual interesting points that I have that I had made note of.
He's no different than the preacher flying on his private jet. No, he is, because at least the preacher is like... At least the fucking preacher is like honest. Preacher's like, I make money I love making money, and I do. What is that quote from that preacher? He's like, I love making money. What is it? I love making money every day, and I do. What is that quote? It's a legendary quote. I love it. What does he say? That preacher, that Southern Baptist preacher. He admits it. He flaunts it. He's like, my chandelier in my house is worth more than your entire life savings. He says some shit like that. I got a chandelier in my house worth more than your entire house. Some shit like that.
So I didn't want this to get too sidetracked. I am taking notes, though.
Holy shit, Jennifer. Thank you so much.
Banks now are speculative investment funds grafted onto critical infrastructure designed to extract subsidies from the rest of society by threatening civilians with a crisis if the banks bet ever fail.
Banks are speculative investment funds grafted onto critical infrastructure designed to extract subsidies from the rest of... Yeah! True! You're actually right! It's like they're fucking blackmailing us. With they're blackmailing us with fucking their gambling bullshit. Yes, that's a really good way to put it, actually. And thank you so much for the 50, by the way. A pretty brilliant way to put it.
About things that I think you guys can make amends on.
Okay.
Like the earlier point, I think the first point, I think you owe him some sort of a comment, and on the second point, he owes you one. I think you guys are like 1-to-1 on the things that you guys should say to each other. But I mean, I'm trying to be. I'm just saying. I do.
No,
I do
I'm laughing at one of your chatters. I'm actually one guy in your chat. Hasan absolutely hates the fact that he can't peddle out cheap merch made in China for 4 cents because he built his brand around being the SJW guy. That is an incredibly cynical perspective, and I know that is only.
Why am I simping for Hasan? How am I simping? I can't stand this fucking Hasan guy. What are you talking about?
Shared by people who literally cannot.
I'm on this guy's side.
Not see that people sometimes actually do end up living their values. That says more about you, Aniram, than myself. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you want to get lectured, I can do that for you right now. But that just only shows how cynical you are. It's no different than like.
It's a progression of capitalism. Run the simulation. There's no running any simulation. Capitalism as a historical mode of production is gone. It doesn't exist anymore, and you can't return to it. So I don't get what your point is.
Aiden Ross constantly being like, "Oh, everyone is in it for the money." It's like, yeah, bro, you are. Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Anyway,
Okay, but now I want to hear.
I think Hasan is in it for the fucking money. To be honest, he's gotta be.
Hear Trainwreck's perspective on the
Talk
issue.
to Hasan. Not possible. Not enough clout.
Train wreck. Yeah. Well,
See, if I was like Trainwreck's level of clout, Hasan would be talking about me a lot. Like, this guy's really dangerous, but I don't have that much clout, so I guess I don't exist.
I guess it would be train wrecks in that situation, or maybe train wrecks. Anyways,
Okay.
Jesus.
Because his hair. I'm the reason he got a haircut, so of course I'm gonna take credit for him listening to my advice. Why wouldn't I?
Go ahead, say a thing about socialism, capitalism, type shit.
okay, so if you moved your like ideations or whatever the fuck you call it, more so to I'm a capitalist, but I believe in socialist values. I believe in socialist systems. I believe in more of a mix, right? If you pushed it more to the middle left, it would make sense to exactly what you do. It makes sense to your entire business model. But to sit there and
Wait, what? Address why.
I think Train's right, because it's like, if you were just out here being like, yeah, I lean toward that, but I'm not really all in on it, it would be like, okay, your brand has some flexibility. Like, you've built a big brand based on being a defender of the status quo, like Destiny, for example, right? And that would make sense. It'd be like, yeah, you're just like a guy who's part of the status quo. You're not selling people on this idea that you're some fucking revolutionary who's here to overthrow things and change things. So I think Train is just completely right here, but he's gonna go over his head totally, and he's just gonna be like, oh, theoretically, that's not necessarily true.
Conflicting.
Oh, I'm getting there. But to sit there, right, and to sell, right, think about this, okay? Your entire business model, in my opinion, is that of a capitalist business model, right? You sell how the world should be, right? While justifying not implementing those very systems of how the world should be by saying you're just participating in society. That's fine. You can participate in society, but at the very least, in the position that you're in, making what you make, in my opinion, the words are not enough. You should be implementing these very systems within your own community to show that these systems work. Do you understand? On a proportional level, if you cannot implement the very systems you preach that should be implemented within America into your community of 30,000, then I would just say you're grandstanding and you're just selling an idea to make money yourself, right? Like,
that's great. That's a great point. That's a great point. You're absolutely correct on it if your understanding of what I advocate for was sound. And I think this is a normal misunderstanding, and a lot of people have this misunderstanding. I just gave you examples of
Dude, you're missing the point. You're talking about, oh, I believe in change. You contribute to no change. It's that simple. He wants to change society, but he does not contribute to any changes in society at all. Isn't it that simple?
Relation that I have where I am producing commodities with the help of others that are involved in the process. And I told you that I utilize when I am actually...
Dude, stop telling people to Democrat every 4 years. How about that? Hasan, if you were in the ring politically, I promise you Trainwrecks would not be critiquing you like this. He wouldn't. He'd be like, you know what? This Hasan guy is part of this huge political movement that is changing shit, or it's on its way to change shit, and he's fighting for the worker, and what, you know, he wouldn't be saying this shit. Be like, oh, Hasan is winning. Workers are winning locally, and all these unions are winning, and they're getting higher wages thanks to Hasan's movement. Hasan is a real socialist after all. Blah, blah, blah. It's not happening.
Producing commodities utilize the same values that I uphold. Okay? Whether it be unionized domestic employees that I am whenever I'm working on merchandise, or whether it be having...
By the way, my merch is going to come from Global South, Third World, sweatshop labor from baristas who were fired from their jobs from trying to unionize in the Global South. And it's all going to be, you know, colonized, Global South, baristas, other things I can't mention on YouTube. But I'm going to make sure all of it is going to be cheap, cheap, cheap. Sweatshop merch. And that's what I'm going to be selling. Because I want to give my viewers low prices. I'm a friend of the worker. I believe in low prices. I don't believe in selling a fucking $100 shirt. Oh, it was unionized. Fuck the damn union then. If your stupid ass fucking union can't compete with sweatshop labor, it should be abolished. You're gonna fucking crucify the consumer, especially in an inflation crisis. You end up with a scenario where only the wealthy and the privileged can fucking afford to wear the shit you're selling. I'm gonna sell a $60 fucking shirt. That'll be for the workers, except how many workers will be able to afford it? You know, your union bullshit is not competitive. That's why unions fucking suck. Because it's just a tax on the consumer. Right? Why is it all about high wages? Why isn't it also about low prices? You know? Nobody thinks about that. If the prices are low, you know, I don't know. What do you guys think?
A cooperative podcast or having full autonomy and having everyone...
Like, I'm helping the workers who are my viewers. Those sweatshops will produce merch either way. If they're not going to do it for me, they're going to do it for some Fortnite streamer. It'll be done either way. Only difference, am I going to tax my viewers with such high exorbitant prices? No. I'm going to get you guys on the cheap. On the cheap end, right? My shit's going to be affordable. I'm a capitalist. Lower those prices. Competition.
Set their own wages with relation to how much profit.
Like, I went to Adidas outlets the other day. I got 2 Adidas tracksuits for $80. I don't give a fuck if sweatshop victims of... I don't give a shit those are low. That's a good deal. That put a smile on my face. I said, wow. You know, and I feel like this is a lavish, luxurious type of outfit. I got 2 of them. I said, wow. Can't beat those prices. I'm going to go fucking buy unionized, ugly clothing? Hell no.
Profit or how little profit a certain venture makes. That is as close as you can get to like multiple different formations of trade unionism an anarcho-syndicalist perspective, and also some level of
I love it. Every time he makes these jibber jabber terms, you just gotta look at Trainwreck's face, and it's all going straight, like he's filtering it all. Like when he said anarcho-syndicalism, like how do you think Trainwreck's register that? Trainwreck's is like, yup, that's that jibber jabber. That's that Hasan babble. Still has a $3 million house. That's that Hasan babble. He's not explaining why he's got a fucking multi-million-dollar lifestyle.
Socialism. So from that perspective, you are objectively incorrect. In most other circumstances, I have no control over it. There's nothing I can do. Like as far as turning Amazon into a cooperative corporation, I can't do that.
You know what I want to see? I want to see a debate between Hasan and President Sunday. It'll be like the clash of jibber jabber. Hasan versus President Sunday. Two people who will deliberately be obtuse to completely distort the quest to find common meaning solely for the sake of being like theoretically or technically precise. Like, imagine that, a debate, showdown, Hasan Piker and President Sunday. And oh my god, I would watch that, man. I'd pay $500 to make that happen. Jibber versus jabber. Jibber versus jabber, the debate. That would be the most legendary debate of all time.
It is a massive, almost $1 trillion operation that I have no control over.
Okay, so what you're saying is that for you, the socialism aspects are only the means of production and the workers and the fact that the unionize or not. It's all about the workers. Okay, I have a question then. When you have a podcast,
this guy's not helping. This guy is definitely speaking some language, just not American English. But he's giving a recap. He's giving a recap to his own people. His own people understand it. So he's like the translator. He's like recapping. He's recapping everything in his native language to his viewers.
Ask the Fear and Pod, how much are the guests and producers paid on that show?
1/3 of the entire revenue.
The guests are paid?
No, the guests are not paid.
Right, if I ever talk to this guy, nothing against him, by the way. Nothing against him at all, but I just feel like if I talk to him, he gets super mad at me because like, what? And, like, I don't understand what you say. He gets so frustrated and annoyed with the like barrier and comprehension that he'd think I'm like being passive aggressive, and I genuinely cannot understand. And I don't ever want to talk to him because I don't ever want to offend him in that way. I hate people who are like that, who are like deliberately like, huh, you didn't say it in the way I wanted to. I genuinely can't understand him. Genuinely cannot. So we should probably never speak.
Guests can come on voluntarily, of course. If they would like to get paid, we would, of course, pay them if there was like a guest fee or anything. But we don't pay guests. We are not interested. We're not interested in having a guest on specifically to make money. I don't think that would be weird. I think
that makes sense.
Yeah, but yeah, March gets 1/3 of the entire revenue generated at the moment from the Fear End podcast operation, which you can go and subscribe to at patreon.com/fearend.
Listen,
what the fuck? He's advertising?
System that you
not good optics, Hasan. In the middle of the debate about him being a grifter, he's like plugging his shit, bruh.
Mentioned in which you apply your socialist values to. You are making.
Thank you, Jen. I appreciate you.
You're deploying a conception of jabber that Yosefian academics themselves have deconstructed.
Money from these systems, and that's fine.
Yeah, if Mar debated Hasan, someone's getting banned. Probably both of them from Twitch. And Hasan would get banned for platforming Mar, and Mar would be banned for Mar would probably get banned from like YouTube too, because the YouTube mods would see that debate on Twitch and be like, you know what? Preemptively banning this guy too. He's not wrong. Mar would probably get banned from Rumble. But he would destroy Hasan, but at what cost?
That's okay. But the
Even Rumble would be
areas that I think should be more consistent in are the ones where you take a percentage of your wealth. Now, listen, this argument that your chat gives, or you give, or your loyalists give, of
Mar versus Stannis would be such an ugly debate. I don't even want to host it. I'm too scared to host that on Rumble. Can we do that? I'm gonna ask Mar. I'll ask him. He can debate Stannis because they're the polar opposites. It's like Mar is one of the most, I say this unironically, like virtuous, traditional people in the community versus the epitome of the decay of man. So I don't know. That should even happen.
So if
Thank you so much, Saudi.
Mar would get banned from the DMV.
socialist, if you broke on the streets, that example in itself has to be the most delusional, extreme example. Why combat?
I don't know what you're talking about. Explain what you mean. I'm a little slow. I'm a dumb guy. I need you to break it down for me a little bit. I'm serious.
Okay.
What do you mean? I just gave you an example of where I do this, and I want you to explain what you mean.
What I mean is, do you not preach a society where healthcare is free, a society where education is not as backwards as it is in America today, right? These systems, in my opinion, you are in a position where if you truly believe that implementing these systems are a real thing, you are in a position to do something that matches what you say. Otherwise, you're just selling false hope in a business model fashion, which is capitalism, right? In a nutshell, to make the money. That's easy to do, but you are in a position to do more. Do you understand?
Do you want me to open
Trainwreck is right.
up a hospital? Because
He is in a position to do more.
I think you're...
No, you don't have to do a hospital, son. Why don't you just fucking not attack Jimmy Dore? First of all, don't attack Jimmy Dore for the forced to vote shit. Second of all, join in on the forced to vote shit. You could make a difference for fucking free healthcare in this country with your fucking platform. You don't, but not add insult to injury. Not only do you not do anything like that, you go and fucking attack Jimmy? Like, attacking him for it? For trying? The fuck was that? And look what else he does! Dude! Doesn't he attack Mr. Beast? And he's like, oh, Mr. Beast is, like, exploitative because he's like, shut up! You fucking do it then.
And it's not about...
So not only does he not do this shit, he also attacks people who do it. Which is such fucking, like, insult to injury, you know? Talk about insult to injury.
Up a hospital. It's
Well,
not
what is it about?
hospital.
Give me specific examples of what I can do so I can tell you if it's like feasible or not.
Okay, so for example, okay, I know a lot of your vocal minority community argue that the mental health care program is a charity, right? But that program, the part of the charity that it is just...
Guys, I know I'm going to nuke my viewers. I'm going to be, like, back in 1 minute. Yes, sir. I'm back. Told you be a second.
part in America, if we were to implement that program, right? Taxes would pay for the program. In this situation,
absolutely.
Real quick. In this situation, which
So yeah, it's not really a charity. I get what he's saying. It's like it is a kind of policy making paradigm of some kind. I get what he's saying. It does make sense, you know?
We don't have that luxury, right, of having a tax system to draw a lot of money from the people. So what's replacing it is the charity aspect. To confuse that the system itself as a charity it's not comparable to the excuse of not doing it.
Are you asking me to provide everyone in my community?
See, he's giving a model that can be replicated, but I think the overall point is it benefits the political cause for that to be implemented. Right? It's a good substantiation of the policy proposal. So overall, what Trainwrecks is trying to say is, why are you not contributing to the substantiation of the policy proposal in some way? It doesn't even have to be in a replicating it systemically. It could also be like, using your resources for political strategy purposes. No one ever brings up this argument.
Community healthcare.
I'm asking you to follow,
like mobilizing your viewers in a political way to be an alternative to the Democrats or the Republicans and actually mobilize them, politically.
Through with what you say. So to create, the system, create education as well, right? You could create a system in which you put a percentage aside that you believe the rich should put aside in America, and you implement that on a small scale to show that, listen, guys, this works. If we can do it, so can America. If you can't even do it yourself and you give these excuses.
So you want me to set up like a 501c3 specifically to like pay the hospital bills of every single member in the community?
Why not? I think that would go a long way. What do you guys think?
That pays
no.
MAGA communism, is it a real thing? It's a real idea. It's a real strategy. It's a real proposal for a strategy. Not being implemented quite yet. But it's definitely a slogan that is about a strategy that we are going to pursue this year.
No. It's about creating a system. You understand? Ignore the actual payment of. It's a system that reflects what you preach and delivers it to people who do not have the financial means to get what you believe they have a right to get. Do you understand? That's what it's about. That's what implementing. That's what the actions over the words means. When you sit there and you preach what you preach on a daily basis and make millions from it, right? And that's okay to make millions from it. It's okay.
But Train.
But there needs to be an implementation of it.
You understand I'm not the government, right? Like
Well, that's not the point. Because the government's just going to be fucking increasing taxes anyway. So he's talking about, how does this affect the average person?
Explained the proportional or the comparison between what would be right in this situation. You create a system, and through your own donation, you would be virtually the tax system that would pay for it in a governmental form, right?
Okay, like that's what you're describing. Where you're taking the long way to describe is literally, first of all, charity. For the record, insurance on the other hand,
the difference,
or taxes on the other hand, insurance or tax.
Train is giving you more than. Like, he's giving you an example of how to fucking actually use your resources to make it more politically attractive. Right? That's what it's about.
Taxes,
passing the policy.
Two different ways.
You don't use your resources to contribute to any movement or any change at all. That's the point.
Funding, some form of healthcare or a payment mechanism for healthcare revolves around people paying into a system and then getting it back in the form of.
This is what he does. He jibber jabbers to weasel his way out of a plain spoken. Like, Train's trying to say something that's pretty simple. This guy has no self awareness. He doesn't fucking get it. He's pure jibber jabber.
Adequate healthcare, right?
Train's winning this, by the way.
This is how it works. So,
it wasn't obvious to you. It's obvious to me.
You and I are in agreement, I think, as far as how the government should operate this, right? I think you believe in free healthcare, right? I think
I do. Yes.
Okay.
Healthcare is. I believe healthcare is a right. Right.
So
I believe our education system is completely backwards. I believe we should be encouraging students to go to school. We should be encouraging students. I believe the new baseline should be college. This idea where we're pushing that college is unnecessary, you can't apply this or that, I think is ridiculous. But I do think
that's interesting.
It stems from.
I want to hear what he has to say. Why he thinks that? Because I think I disagree. I think trade schools where it's at, and I think most of what you should need to learn could be crammed into an actual effective 4-year high school education, and that college is a waste of time. But I'm really interested to hear his perspective, because it's not often a guy who's not totally blue-pilled will defend college. So I'm curious what he has to say, actually, earnestly, you know?
Our backwards financial education system.
So
right?
how can I do what you're describing without building a hospital or building a 501c3?
I just explained it.
Wait,
I just
Could help out people in your community who might be struggling to pay medical bills. Because Train helps people in his community with the mental health stuff.
I just explained, right? For example, the program I have, right? It's easy to compare the two and say, oh, it's a charity. No. The charity part of it is replacing the tax system in which the government would pay for that system. Since we don't have that tax system, taking a percentage of what you make, like you preach should happen for the rich, right? And putting it into that system, right? So what you make, a percentage of what you make going into that system would be replicating what the government has for taxes, right? We'd be taking it out of our pockets monthly, right? For each respective community across Twitch, across YouTube, across Kick, across wherever.
Yeah, you're
right?
saying you want to start, if I'm not misunderstanding, you want to start like a healthcare structure for Twitch watchers that us Twitch streamers put together.
Yes.
Yes, us Twitch streamers, we put together a healthcare structure. Okay.
Is that socialism though? Is that
That's not. No, it's not. It's just, but
So
it
It
is.
doesn't have to be, Hasan. It's at least something. Do something. You fucking lazy fuck. Do something besides sit on your ass and complain. Is that so much to say? Do something. Don't gotta be everything, but it can be something. Right? Right? Even Haas, even Adam Tahir himself in the flesh, Harry Aldine, Hayes Aldine, even Hayes Aldine, when he was at 100 viewers, said, let's take the CPUSA. You know, even Hayes Aldine, I mean, even doing all this shit with merch. I mean, merch is not an example. I'm doing shit with this org that's being launched. Hayes Aldine. Yeah, the money I make goes into paying my bills, paying for the streaming equipment, and then, admittedly, when I'm traveling, you know, a plane ticket. I don't travel a lot. Like, I'm not going on vacations all the time. When I do, it's to a place where I don't have to pay any, like, rent, or I don't have to pay any, like, what are they called? Fees. It's not like an Airbnb. But the plane ticket, yeah. But I'm not the only reason I went was because my dad wanted me to go with him for a weekend. I want to spend time with my father. But that was it, you know. So that's what I do. It's not like I'm out here buying all these clothes, and I don't have jewelry. Like, you know, I had that necklace, which was actually like less than $100. Remember when I told you guys my necklace was like, yo, look, I'm in, yeah. And then this outfit I'm wearing is like $30. So yeah, so you know. But do you know what I do spend a fuck ton of money on? Streaming shit. Almost wastefully. Like, this camera is like $2,400 for this fucking camera. It's a lot. That's a lot, man. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot.
But it is nice. It's not socialism. That's not socialism. But it is nice. It is nice. It's a good idea. It's a charity.
Distributing the wealth of the rich into systems that give healthcare to the poor is exactly the values of socialism, is it not?
Yes, you're right. But by your logic, then, charities would be considered socialism, but it's not.
No.
Guys, I'm also considering something, and I'm going to test it, but there's this company that reached out to me, and they're like, we will produce every day of the month, like, content. We're going to, like, shorts, videos. We'll do them at the optimal time, thumbnails, everything, for $300 a month. And it's month to month, and I'm thinking of trying that out. Like, especially the shorts, maybe, I think that's worth it. But I'm gonna like, can I get a sample to see what kind of work you do and how you edit it? If it's in line with my style. Send them. Yeah, I'll send them to you, Jackson. Especially if they're legit and they turn out to be effective and stuff. I'll send them your way. But it's an easy investment. 300, it's a lot, right? But the payoff in terms of growth, because growth is what matters. Like, if I could spend $5,000 right now to get 10,000 new YouTube subscribers, easy, I would do it. Wait, would I? I don't know. Like, actual viewers, like, actually, like, I'm a high investor. Like, to me, I don't think I don't care in the short term. Like, everything for the long term brand. I'm a brand capitalist. Like, I want the infrared brand to grow. It's not about hoarding money to me. Money is just part of the brand. That's why I'm the Walt Disney of socialism. I'm the Walt Disney of communism. I'm just like Walt Disney. I care about the brand. I don't really care only about the money. Money is just a part of the ride there, not the end goal. The brand is the end goal.
No.
And also, if charities eradicated the existence of these problems, if charities eradicated the existence of these problems, then in the United States of America, it's one of the most charitable countries on the planet. We would literally not have a single person die because they can't get their diabetes medication.
Like, if I could pay $10,000 to have 1 month of very high performing, like 1 million or 100,000 viewer videos. It's not possible, obviously. But yeah, I would. I care about the success of the channel. Also, money, inflation. It's like, you have to put it to work. You're not putting your money to work. It's gonna lose its value no matter what.
Which is why you have to.
So I'm gonna give those guys a chance. Use like $300, and they edit shit, they churn it out. I'll give them a chance. I don't know if I want to give them the 300, but I'll be like, I'll pay. Let's say I pay you 20. Give me one edited thing, and let me see how you do it. And if I like it, then I'll consider it.
Advocate for the government, as I do all the time, not only put pressure on congresspersons, but like literally directly talk to them from time to time as well, and utilize.
Yeah, food and healthcare is easily the most important. You're right.
My community to go vote a certain way. I am technically trying to do that in a grander scale. It's unfortunately very difficult to accomplish.
So let me ask you this. If the socialist himself cannot find a way to distribute a percentage of his wealth, who do you expect to do it? The fucking capitalist sitting at the top? It needs to start somewhere.
No,
it needs to start somewhere, right?
No,
if we can't do it on this level, how are you expecting a country of 335 million to implement it on that scale? We need to find a way to proportionally scale it within our business models, whether it's the charity aspect, replacing or replicating the tax system. Do you understand? Like, the action needs
you do realize countries have socialized healthcare, right? Like the UK has the NHS system. So like literally just pointing to that should be able to have a wake up moment for the minds of millions of Americans. But it still hasn't worked. So technically what you're saying is well intentioned. And I love that you're saying this, but it demonstrably doesn't work. I point to actively working socialized healthcare structures on a daily basis, and yet I have not been able to, individually at least, move the needle on getting Americans to get on board with Medicare for all. Neither did Bernie Sanders, again, unfortunately.
Okay.
We'll agree to disagree on that. And next topic.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Wait, what? I don't know what the disagreement there is, though. I gave you an example of socialized healthcare working in a larger system, okay, and pointing to that, and yet that still doesn't get Americans on board in certain instances. But the reality is, even if all Americans were on board, okay, even if every single American, like the abortion ban, for example, were on board, 75% of Americans thought abortion should be protected, and yet the Supreme Court decided against it. Why? Because that's just how it is when the rich and powerful get together and build billions of dollars worth.
The rich and powerful are overwhelmingly for abortion. It's the evangelical poor people that are against it, you fucking dumbass. What an idiot.
Worth of dark money funded super PACs and lobby.
Dark money. What about all the... Dude, the money that goes into the fucking left blows it out of the water, whatever the conservatives are getting. How do you not fucking know that? Literally do the math.
In groups.
Oh, dark money. Shut up.
They get their way regardless of what the
I'd love to debate Hasan. I'd just be like, I win. Guys, I gotta pee. Can I piss? Of course I can piss. Anyone who leaves while I go take a piss, you are a weak person. You're a weak person. I'm gonna go piss. Everyone's so impatient. Until I get back. And everyone pretends, oh my, look at all the hundreds of people who left. Oh my.
Americans think or feel. And the same goes for healthcare as well, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry with a lot of people making money that you and I would look at it and go, holy shit, that is a lot more money than we make. That is the unfortunate reality here. That's what we're going up against. So pointing to an example of like a charity individually working within my community or within Twitch, okay, that's a very nice thing to do.
It's a system.
And we can talk more about it.
Is disingenuously being presented.
It's not disingenuous. There's nothing wrong with charity.
What he says though is that he says that inherently that's not the socialism that he's supposed to uphold, like you think he is. When he
so what socialism is so the socialism is
labor. His socialism that he pushes.
So the socialism that requires him to give no percentage of his money and only requires him to preach is the socialism.
Well, I
he's
do
for.
pay.
You don't find
I
that
do pay a
convenient?
decent amount of taxes in California, but that's not. But I don't consider that to be socialism.
We legally
it's like
have
Keynesian
to.
economics. That's wealth distribution, and I think that's adequate, and I think that's apt. I wish that billions of it wasn't used on fucking finding new and creative ways to like blow brown children in fucking school buses in Yemen, but.
Train is so confused. He's like, dude, we are so off topic.
Unfortunately, that is what our American government has decided to spend it on. That is an unfortunate byproduct of living here. But even the meager amount of that goes back into funding the roads, funding the school system, I'm happy with and I'm comfortable with, and I talk about it during tax season all the fucking time. But if you think that like charity is socialism, then
I didn't.
He's not saying that, Hasan. He's saying it's a way to substantiate the socialistic policy. It's a way to give it more credibility. These are showing how it can be done, and that's how you get it done. You'd be able to say that. Damn, it's simple. So much jibber jabber.
Say charity is socialism. I was referring to a system that we create as a streamer. And the charity aspect, right, which provides that system, would be the way we replicate the tax system, right? Within America, the government has a tax system.
Thank you so much, nowhere.
Is almost Linkian level of symbolism.
Yeah. So weird.
Which they would funnel their money into programs for the people who can't afford it. It would give people access to healthcare. It would cover certain educational costs to push education through. What I'm saying is we create a system, and since we do not have a tax system,
you just
we can
swapping
use
the word charity for system, by the way. Like that's what you're doing, which is fine. Again, I have no issues with charity. I'm showing you the
difference, right? It's about creating the system, right? And the charity would be the pool of money used to fund the system that gives healthcare to your community to show that it works. What you preach works. You can take.
Oh my god, what happened?
Wrecked trains cannot escape.
Thank you so much, Voidbird. I have a fucking mouse where it's like there's all these buttons on it, and I just clicked the wrong one. Fuck's sake.
I have.
And look how far back I am. Where was I? Do you guys know where I was? Thank you, Voidburn. Oh my god.
Charities would be considered socialism, but it's not.
No.
And also, if charities eradicated the existence of these problems, if charities eradicated the existence of these problems,
2340. Okay, thank you, man. What a legend. He got it.
Preach is the socialism.
Well, I do pay a decent amount of taxes in California, but that's not. But I don't consider that to be social.
We legally have
Keynesian economics that's wealth distribution, and I think that's adequate. Okay. New and creative ways to like blow what our American government has decided to spend it on.
2613. All right, thank you, Jennifer. Sounds more right to me.
We're going to build hospitals. We're going to build rural hospitals, which is a major problem as well.
I think Voidburn. Thank you so much, Voidburn.
America, and we're going to make sure that everyone can get health care for free when they go into a hospital. That would be socialized medicine. It would not be socialism. It would be a form of socialization.
So couldn't you implement what you preach into a system like?
Thank you so much, Thomas. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, man.
that for your community to have access to things that they don't have access to because of their financial means, right? Because of their financial situations. That's what I'm asking. It's easy to preach,
I
but
think
if you can take
I think that is doable, certainly, and it's not impossible. The problem in that situation would be that it would require me dropping everything I normally do and basically learn an entirely new set of skills. It would not be as...
But wait, Trainwrecks can do it, so why can't you do something like what he does?
System. It would, again, just be a charity, that a 501c3 that I would have to set up. And I, unfortunately, am a dumbass who doesn't know anything about setting up a 501c3, which is why I usually, just like you did, work with other 501c3s that are pre-existing in this regard. But again, I have raised and also funded more than $500,000 last year, which is a marginal amount in comparison to how charitable you are. You're a very charitable person. And this year so far, almost like $2 million, if I'm not mistaken, to various different causes. I don't think that is socialism. I just want to make that clear. I don't think that that's socialism. I do it because I think it's the right thing to do. I'm a very fortunate person, and I think the capacity to be able to give back is a good thing. That's why I do it. But even by that metric of like, if you think that building these sorts of systems is socialism, then I guess I'm a relatively socialist person.
I think it's right, for each individual, right? It's a value within themselves, right? So if you're making X and X amount of dollars, I believe because of the fortunate situation both you and I are in, I do believe in higher taxes for us. I do believe in both of us taking a percentage of our wealth and putting it into systems, right, that can distribute it to people and give them the baseline, what I believe to be a right, which is healthcare, education systems that pay for their schooling based on, let's say, hardworking students or whatever the hell that is, GPA, whatever you want to measure that by, right? That's what I believe. So what I'm saying is, I do think, ignore the charity aspect. I'm referring to the systems. The charity is just a funding pool in this comparison, right? I believe we should not just talk it, we should act on it, right? So we should take a percentage of our wealth, whether it's 20%, 30%, 10%, whatever it may be, and put it towards systems that give what we believe to be a right to the people that don't have access to these things that I believe should be a right? I
think the system you're describing is a 501c3 though, right? Like that's...
In this situation, the 501c3 would be provided, and all you would have to do, right? So let's hypothetically say for this mental health care program, right? Wouldn't you say, if you don't want to create that this is it's right there, right? It's a system you believe in for your community, right? So why
again? Hassan doesn't agree with. I'm just agree.
Okay, go ahead.
Hasan doesn't. Even though he thinks these things are good and he wants to do those things, and sometimes he hasn't, or maybe he will in the future, he still doesn't view that as a fundamental socialism.
Wait, first of all, I do those things. Let's make it clear. I think I do a decent job at doing those things.
Yeah, but I still think he doesn't view that as the fundamentals of socialism, and that's not what he preaches.
Yes.
Therefore, he's not.
I actually understood what he said. He said, "Okay, he's pretty intelligible."
He doesn't.
I was just being too harsh.
Like you've gotten him on the dude, you haven't donated this much. Well, Hasan doesn't feel like you got him on not doing what he preaches, when this is not what he preaches in that regard to socialism. That's what he feels like.
So you're picking and choosing what aspects of socialism apply based on what you have to act on, what you don't. I'm confused.
I mean, ask Hasan.
So we're cherry picking what parts of socialism we want to preach. And those are dependent on which ones actually require you to distribute a percentage of your wealth into systems that distribute it to the people that are less. It seems like we're cherry picking what we have to act on and what we don't. It just seems very convenient to me.
I think that the fundamental disagreement here is that charitable donations is socialism is like kind of your perspective here. I don't want to put words in your mouth. You can correct me, but that's all I've heard from you. As far as like, maybe you don't say charitable donations, you say systems, but that's kind of what you're talking about. And that is fundamentally not true, which is fine. It's still fine though. You're right. I think it's a good thing to, again, uphold charity and try to do your very best to help others who are less fortunate. But if you're asking me as someone who like at least describes the concept of what socialism is, That is not true. What you're describing is just fundamentally just a 501c3.
I feel like there's a disconnect for you and probably with others as well in what I'm referring to. Okay,
and
the only reason, okay, let's take my mental health care program as an example of this, since it's the only thing I can show you in this regard.
Right.
That's on Twitch. That can help you understand this. Okay, so ignore the charity aspect of what's going on there. Okay. That's there. The reason I had to work with them is because obviously as a streamer, right, we don't pay some sort of streamer tax within Twitch where we can funnel that money and put it towards systems we believe in, right? So ignore the charity aspect. Instead, compare it in this system, right? When I say system, I'm referring to the system where I take a percentage of my wealth monthly, put it into, let's say, a pot, and from there, access is given to viewers in my community that do not have access to mental health care, right? That charity is only replicating what the U.S. government, it's proportionally replicating, right?
Yes,
what the U.S. government has for a tax system.
What you're describing, yes, exactly. The main difference is voluntary donations versus taxes, right? And you're right.
That's the
What?
the only way that we, right,
But
proportionally
you
as
have to
streamers,
understand
that's
you're
the only way
describing a charity when you keep.
Bro, Hasan is just like President Sunday, where it's like he's just hung up on the term, not the substance. It's like, okay, you can call it whatever the fuck you want, but Train is trying to say that would be a proportionate example of what the systemic policy would be, like at the individual level, for example. I don't know if I necessarily agree that it's possible to individually replicate a system, but that's besides the point, because Hasan is not responding to what he's saying. He's just kind of getting hung up on semantics for no fucking reason, talking about terminology. Like, that's what Train is trying to say. Like, who gives a fuck about the terminology? Like, respond to what he's saying, you know? How would I respond to it? I would be like, you know what? I'm a fucking millionaire. Why not? I'll fucking do it just to prove a point. You know? I would honestly struggle to be like, I can't do it because I'd be like, you know what? Or maybe I could be like, well, I can't sacrifice all my wealth for this. If I did this, I'd have barely any left over for myself. And it would therefore not be proportional. Because I would probably say, if I was smart, I think I'm smart. If I was Hasan, this is what I would say. I would say, the amount of revenue generated by my audience in proportion to me is fundamentally incomparable with the amount of GDP generated by America to the US government in taxes. I'd be like, it's not proportional though, because me to my 50,000 viewers is nothing like the US government in relation to the total GDP of the US economy. And I think that would be like a knock it out of the park argument for Hasan if he was smart. To be like, it's actually not proportional. Right? Hasan could be like, that would set me back in a way that it would not set the government back. If it would. I don't even know if it's true or not. I honestly don't. I'm just saying, like, you know? Or maybe Train could just be like, okay, we'll just do it in a way that would be proportional. Pretend you're the US government. Pretend this is the amount of tax revenue you get. And even if it's only like a few $1,000s a month or something, still do it, you know? Just to prove it can be done.
Planning it though. Like that's
it's
the
a
charity that you
what I'm
work
trying
with,
to-
Rad, right? You work with
But he's
Rad.
just focusing on these nitpicky, stupid fucking details. Dude's fucking...
Rad.
Yes.
Alright, so I guess this debate's not going anywhere.